أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. اللهم صل على سيدنا محمد وعلى آل سيدنا محمد كما صليت على سيدنا إبراهيم وعلى آل سيدنا إبراهيم، وبارك على سيدنا محمد وعلى آل سيدنا محمد كما باركت على سيدنا إبراهيم وعلى آل سيدنا إبراهيم في العالمين إنك حميد مجيد. By the barakah of Sidi Shaykh Mohamed Faouzi al-Karkari قدس الله سره. Note from lecture of August 17th, 2025, part 2. Before starting this video, I would like to say that this work would never have seen the light without Sidi Shaykh. If something is wrong, it will be from myself, and everything that is correct is from Sidi Shaykh. A disciple stated in 2 consecutive lectures that he hear voices and feel waves hitting his body when sleeping. In the first segment of this lecture, Sidi Shaykh spoke about the importance of being attached to the luminous example of the divine light, the niche, the lamp, the glass, and the pearly star. In this segment, Sidi Shaykh discussed people who seek to hear spiritual voices, hawatif. He referenced the Hadith Qudsi, and my servant continues to draw nearer to me through supererogatory deeds until I love him. When I love him, I become his hearing with which he hears, his sight with which he sees, etc. Sidi Shaykh explained that the Shaykh works with the disciple until their heart becomes light. The Shaykh then unifies for them the light of the heart with the light of sight, enabling them to see the light of the heart through their eyes. Sidi Shaykh emphasized that if the disciple desired the Shaykh to unify for them the light of sight with the light of hearing, the method has already been provided, though no one has applied it. The Shaykh has revealed everything: how sight becomes light, how hearing becomes light, how the tongue becomes light, yet no one have accepted this guidance. Sidi Shaykh recalled the method he had previously explained. He stated that when disciples sit for remembrance, for dhikr, they should become absent from everything external and listen to themselves. The eardrum should be occupied entirely with what their tongue pronounces. He observed that some disciples, when sitting with the Shaykh for dhikr, remain quiet and motionless, even when the Shaykh raises his voice. Later, when the Shaykh speaks about spiritual voices, hawatif, they desire to hear them too. However, they should first learn to hear what their own tongue utters. During dhikr, disciples should pronounce the name Allah or astaghfirullah, I seek forgiveness from Allah, and hear the vibration, al-dhabdaba, of the word. Sidi Shaykh explained that when a word is pronounced, when it leaves the mouth, it is as if it dies. Its lifespan comes to an end. The word's destination marks the completion of its lifespan. Sidi Shaykh illustrated this with an example. He said that when the Shaykh tells someone, "Come to me," the word reaches the intended person and expires. Its fruit is when the person revives the word by taking action and coming to the Shaykh. Those who desire the fruit and life of words but remain careless about their pronunciation, لا يبالي بإخراجها, allow the word to die on their lips. When such people say astaghfirullah or la ilaha illallah, they fail to revive the word. Instead, they kill it. When disciples close their eyes and perform dhikr, the words they pronounce become the means to reach that light and to revive both the light of sight and the light of insight within themselves. This aligns with the Quranic verse, Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim, we will show them our signs in the horizons and within themselves. Allah manifests to them the meaning of the words they pronounce, whether astaghfirullah or Allah, through luminous example. Sidi Shaykh emphasized that when one says astaghfirullah, Allah or la ilaha illallah, they should witness Allah's light, not other creatures. He posed the question: when one utters such words and see creatures instead, are they on the true path, at-tariq, or on deviant paths, as-subul? If someone pronounces the names of people or jinn and see these creatures, there is no issue. It is like calling someone on the phone and receiving an answer. However, if one says Astaghfirullah and see creatures, it indicates they are not truly present with God. Sidi Shaykh referenced the story of Sayyidina Ibrahim alayhi salam in Surah Al-An'am when he saw the star, al-Kawkab, the moon and the sun, and said, "This is my Lord." He explained that when the person sits to remember God and there is nothing like God, what should they witness? They cannot claim to see God before them. Instead, God has left for his servants the star, the moon, and the sun. It is as if God is saying, when you supplicate to me and remember me, your spiritual wayfaring and witnessing of closeness to me manifests through your vision of the star, moon, and sun, accompanied by a firm declaration from the heart, "This is my Lord." Sidi Shaykh stated that the first step in hearing spiritual voices, hawatif, is having proper attention and preparation, not performing dhikr while being distracted by others' conversations. When one says Astaghfirullah, if this word were placed on one side of a scale and the entire universe on the other, this word should outweigh everything else. If one's heart and tongue remain unaffected by this word and continue busying themselves with other words and worldly matters, then they have no share in living in spiritual retreat, khulwa, with the Lord. When uttering this word, the essence of one's hearing should be concentrated entirely on what the tongue pronounces. One must learn to live with their heart, to become entirely heart and entirely tongue. When a person says Astaghfirullah, to prevent this word from dying in their heart, they should hear it with the eardrum of their ear, entirely, exactly as they pronounced it. The eardrum should be as if it is in front of the person, absorbing the entire expression completely. This ensures that any luminous power of faith contained within it benefits only the one who uttered it. They should pronounce the expression while training their ear to hear their voice from the beginning to the end. Sidi Shaykh described how the disciple reaches a stage where their heart witnesses the light of God. They can open their eyes and see this light, and whenever they engage in dhikr or prayer, they perceive the shining star, al-Kawkab al-Dhurri. At this level, they should say Astaghfirullah while holding the belief in the heart that the shining star, al-Kawkab al-Dhurri, is the true utterer of Astaghfirullah. They should maintain in their heart that they did not hear their own voice, but rather the shining star is repeating what they said, as if they themselves said nothing. In the sensory word, al-Hiss, they pronounced Astaghfirullah, but they perceive that they did not truly speak. Instead, the shining star, al-Kawkab al-Dhurri, who is the child of pure meanings, Tifl al-Ma'ani, existing in their heart, is the one who uttered Astaghfirullah through their tongue. Sidi Shaykh clarified that reaching this state is not initially required. Rather, one should first develop the habit of making the ear hear the entirety of their voice. Even when sitting in a noisy gathering, they will not turn toward external sounds because they have trained themselves over a long period to listen not to others but to themselves. Similarly, the voice becomes trained to avoid harmful speech and speak only in remembrance of God. At first, the person strives in dhikr until the light manifests in both their sight and insight, al-basar wal-basira. In the second stage, when they say Astaghfirullah, they become completely annihilated on everything, and it is as if the star, moon, or sun is speaking through their tongue. Sidi Shaykh illustrated this process from a sensorial perspective. He said that when a person says Astaghfirullah, hears it entirely, returns it to their heart, and then the heart utters it again through the tongue, this creates a niche, a mishkat. Sidi Shaykh added that the person becomes accustomed to this after practice for a long period, perhaps months or years, depending on the person. This is not something they do one day and abandon the next day. They must accustom themselves to this practice during all times of their dhikr. Then, when the light of God becomes established in their heart and becomes clear to them through their sight, they should search for its source, which is the child of pure meanings, Tifl al-Ma'ani, or the shining star, الكوكب الذري, or the light which was cast into their heart. So this becomes the center of that circle. Sidi Shaykh stated that some disciples would say that this is just a belief, mu'taqad. Sidi Shaykh said that indeed, through belief one reaches reality. If the knowledge of Allah's light, ilmu nurullah, does not precede it, one will not reach the essence of Allah's light, aynu nurullah. If the person does not have the information, how would they reach it and have the experience manifested to them? The experience comes after one takes the principle and the rule and memorizes them. Now the disciple should memorize this rule. They work on this cycle previously explained and perform it through dhikr. Astaghfirullah, astaghfirullah, astaghfirullah. Sidi Shaykh likened this cycle to circumambulating the Kaaba counterclockwise. Here, a ray of the heart begins to appear and become like a luminous star, Najm Nurani. The person should have in their heart that this star is the one who informs about Allah. That is why Sayyidina Ibrahim alayhi salam said, "This is my Lord." Sidi Shaykh mentioned that when the disciple sits for dhikr and starts to see creatures, they become a knower of creatures, a knower of so and so, fulan wa fulan, and not a knower of God. He mentioned the hadith of Sayyidina Haritha, where he said, "I turned away from worldly life, I spent my days in thirst, and my nights in qiyam. It is as if I see the throne of the Most Merciful clearly manifest." He saw the throne of the Most Merciful clearly manifest without any doubt. After that, after seeing the throne of the Most Merciful, not before, he said, "And I see people visiting each other in paradise and people suffering in hell." So in the beginning, one should ascend to Allah. After that, they may seek to see the forms of jinn and angels. But at first, one should witness Allah, hear from Allah, strike with the hand of Allah, walk with the foot of Allah. If these steps are not achieved, one is not a knower of Allah. So that was all for this video. Alhamdulillah الذي هدانا لهذا وما كنا لنهتدي لولا أن هدانا الله. لقد جاءت رسل ربنا بالحق. اللهم لك الحمد، اللهم لك الحمد، اللهم لك الحمد. اللهم صل على سيدنا محمد وعلى آل سيدنا محمد كما صليت على سيدنا إبراهيم وعلى آل سيدنا إبراهيم، وبارك على سيدنا محمد وعلى آل سيدنا محمد كما باركت على سيدنا إبراهيم وعلى آل سيدنا إبراهيم في العالمين إنك حميد مجيد. سبحان ربك رب العزة عما يصفون، وسلام على المرسلين، والحمد لله رب العالمين.